Hell is not merely a place, it is the final destination. It is a realm that seethes in perfect hatred against all that breathes, and its essence is the tangible manifestation of corruption. Neither a dream, nor a nightmare, or a fictitious exaggeration of the many believers' religions. No, hell is real, and it is a lot closer than most people dare to imagine. Through the tears in creation opened by a mortal heresy, the realm of hell has breached the world of flesh, and its influence now threatens to swallow our existence. At its core, hell is a metaphysical inversion of divine order, a place where law becomes caprice, where hierarchy devours itself, and where reality trembles under the weight of cosmic rebellion. Hell is not located in our universe, nor below it. It is against it. A realm of spiritual entropy, born from the first rebellion and nourished by every sin, every betrayal, and every fallen soul ever since. To the faithful, hell is the absence of God's light. To the damned, it is their sanctuary. But to those few who have seen it and returned, it is unspeakable. Only a handful of mortals have ever set foot upon its scorched soil. The paladin of the Mentalist Order, purified by the Metachrist Project, bear the only known bodies and spirits capable of penetrating the infernal veil. But even these divinely created juggernauts do not tread the soil of hell lightly, for their very entry is considered a miracle, and their return a mystery. For hell is not a passive dimension, it actively rejects the living. Its atmosphere alone corrodes the flesh, and its unholy energies twist the soul. The very air howls with voices never born, and even the most stalwarts of minds are shattered by the invergent logic of its landscapes. Hell is divided like a malignant cathedral turned inside out. Its 7 circles represents each cardinal sin, with an archdevil residing over each specific dominion. Boiling lakes, iron citadels, inverted crucifixion forests, and factories of living flesh. These are not religious metaphors, but physical manifestations of horror, places of infernal torture that each burns with malevolence and purpose. From these circles rise the great lords of the infernal, the archdevils, all who were once angels. Yet their fall was not accidental, it was chosen, a rejection of divinity, where they instead chose rebellion. At the apex of hell's power stand the Iron City of Dis, a fortress of hatred forged in the deepest circle and crowned by smoke-belching towers that pierce the dark sky. However, important is it to understand, this is not a city in any mortal sense. It is a weapon of divine spite. It is an industrial pantheon of cruelty, desecration, and war. Its streets are paved with writhing flesh, its monuments are carved from shrieking basalts, and within it, cathedrals to the serpent heads hang upside down over pits of endless sacrifice. And from the city's central keep, rising like a black dagger, echoes the voice of infernal law. This is the seat of the court of the Seven Headed Serpent, the supreme war council of the Hellborn. It is the place where ambition is weighed and discarded like scrap, where treachery is ritualized, and dominion is a revolving crown that constantly replaces its wearer. No throne in this remains warm. The very design of its war council invites betrayal, inviting only the strongest or the most cunning to claim and reclaim rule over hell's legions. The statues of the 7 mortal sins are built, demolished, and rebuilt again, each time honoring the newest victors of the infernal hierarchy. And this cycle of power is Hell's truest doctrine, the manifestation of eternal betrayal of everything sacred, including itself. Hell as a realm resists permanence. Its geography is treacherous, changing with every power struggle, and its laws are dictated by metaphysical supremacy rather than order. Even its apparel in the mortal world, the Hellgate of Jerusalem, and its lesser cousin like the Hellmouth of the North, shifts with the waxing and waning strength of the court. No strategy is stable, no procedure is solidified, because nothing in Hell is either. The denizens of this, be they devils, possessed saints, or enslaved spirits, know only one truth, that obedience is temporary, and power is pain made sacred. Yet for all its horror, all its blasphemy, all its war machines and Goetic rites, the greatest threat Hell poses is its desire to invade, to step beyond the gates, to not merely replace all creation, but to etch itself into it through the fires of eternal suffering. Standing as the pinnacle of Hell's vast and unholy hierarchy is the court of the Seven Headed Serpent. It is a coalition of archdevils, each one a monstrous avatar of one of the seven mortal sins: wrath, envy, pride, gluttony, greed, sloth, and lust. Together, these beings form the infernal parliament of war, a ruling body that issues decrees to the warbands of Hell and dictates how to best unmake the Creator's design. Yet the court is not a seat of harmony. It is a tempest of ambition and betrayal. Thrones rise and fall with terrifying frequency, for power in Hell is not inherited, it is taken by force. It is torn from the bones of the fallen, and only a handful of lords ever manage to hold their thrones for long. The only stable seat is that of Mammon, the Lord of Greed, who has ruled from the golden seat almost without pause since the war's beginning. All others must contend with a never-ending onslaught of rivals: dukes, marquises, princes, earls, ladies of carrion, and lords of suit, all scheming for a chance to ascend to one of the thrones. Each member of the council is a sovereign of infernal might, whose strength swells and fades with the number of souls corrupted in their name. Their mortal cults, armies, and warbands act as both tools and currency within this cruel parliament. A legion that falters may drag its master from power, and a single gleaming victory might raise a forgotten demon to the heights of rulership. Yet as an outsider of the archdevils stands Beelzebub, the greatest among the gluttonous, who scorns the court of the seven more than anything. For the Lord of Flies has long since abandoned the hungry throne, leaving it vacant, spitting upon the rituals and bureaucracy of his peers. Instead, he has chosen to abandon the ceremonies of Hell and wages war by his own plague-ridden hand through the sickness of blasphemous sermons of his black grail. Yet the Infernal War Council does not rule through numbers, they rule through suffering. Its decrees are not laws, but omens, and warbands are not dispatched for strategic gain, but to extinguish future saints, to desecrate holy places, or even to punish fellow heretics. There is no morality, only the calculus of eternal damnation and the sustainment of constant war. Within the court, each of the seven thrones represents a sin made manifest, seated in a chamber that shifts form, depending on which archdevil holds power. The Iron Curule of Wrath is a throne forged in the fire of unending war. Every moment it is seated, it drips molten metal and growls with a hatred that burns even demons. Its current occupant is unknown, and this particular throne sees the most frequent turnover, for it is no secret that Wrath consumes even its own. The second throne, the black Klismos of envy, is shrouded in veils and shadows, a throne that hungers not for conquest, but for the ruin of others. Its rulers do not win by strength, they ascend through sabotage. And though its current ruler is unknown, it is a well-established fact that the demons who vie for this position turn voices of loyalty into whispers of venom and betrayal. The third throne, the High Cathedra of Pride, is radiant, blinding, and tall enough to look down upon all others. The Pride throne admits only those whose arrogance can bend reality, and its seat is often empty, as many claim it, but very few can keep it. The fourth throne is the hungry throne of gluttony. This seat belongs to Beelzebub, and yet it remains abandoned. Though no demon of gluttony has ever matched his might, the Lord of the Flies despises the council and governs through his own cultic plague, far from the politics of hell. His absence stands both as an insult and a challenge, and many petty gluttons claw at the throne in his stead. The fifth throne is the golden seat of greed, Mammon's dominion, which remains unchallenged. He is the only serpent head to have endured since the war began, for Mammon is the manipulator, the banker, the patron of warlords who care more for coin than cause. His throne gleams with stolen wealth, each coin edged with the name of a fallen city. The sixth throne is the silk bed of sloth. This throne is not a seat, but a couch, draped in flesh and decadence. Its current ruler is unknown, for none care enough to report it. From this throne, inertia becomes weaponized, and inaction becomes corruption incarnate. The seventh and last throne is the flesh divan of lust. Its throne is shaped like a lover's embrace, its back formed from the moans of countless bound souls. The throne of lust changes more than any other, for its rulers are all consumed by their own hedonism, and it is said that to sit upon the throne for too long is to vanish into blissful oblivion. Together, these thrones shape the wars of the world, but they are not constant. They are serpents devouring each other, eternally slithering in a knot of lies and agony. And when they do agree, when a decree is passed by majority vote, the world burns with coordinated malice. From the black gates of the iron city of Dis to the burning fringes of the mortal world, the armies of the court of the Seven Headed Serpent are the bleeding edge of hell's war effort. Where mortal heretics may waver and cults fracture, the military forces of the court are resolute, each warband a sharpened fang of the great infernal maw. These legions are not merely soldiers, they are the material incarnations of sin, each regiment a living theology of blasphemy. They march not only to claim land, but to unmake the Creator's design itself. The court's military does not function like a human army. Its structures is not forged in discipline or strategy, but in sin, pact, and ancient infernal law. Warbands are formed through dread rituals, summoned when the omens are favorable and the spiritual tides allow a tear in creation. Each warband is led by a demonic praetor or one of the many high nobles of hell who speak with the authority of their serpent head patron. Yet their campaigns are never straightforward, for a warband might be summoned to slaughter mortals, only to turn on rival heretics, to settle infernal debts, or appease the fury of a spurned devil. Victory always stands as a secondary to corruption, and objectives change according to hell's ever-churning politics. Foremost among the foot soldiers of the court are the wretched, living mortal slaves, their minds shattered by the horrors of hell. These pitiable creatures, captured in the borderlands where reality fins, are forced to march ahead of the court's armies as disposable shock troops, each one knowing that killing a mighty foe might win them the favor of the serpent and earn a twisted form of liberty as once granted in the mythic First Rebellion. Driving the wretched forward are the yoke fiends, lash-wielding horrors that combine the cruelty of devils with the fanatical efficiency of demonic logistics. Their tormented screams are the very force that drive the wretches forward, instilling obedience in their souls, not with reason, but with agony. When the court's patience is spent and ruin must be absolute, it unleashes its Hell Knights, fallen angels or mortal champions of yore, now interred in molten armor and animated by the sorcerers of Sheol. Outside of war, they're bound beneath black basalt slabs in burning tombs, each moment of their slumber a punishment for past failures. But when summoned, they stride the battlefield as avatars of dread, each footfall a curse to humanity. Alongside them travel the desecrated saints, once sacred relics now profaned into mobile altars of hell. These walking cathedrals pollute the land they pass, turning soil to ash and air to poison, desecrating even the concept of sanctity itself. It is said that their presence alone is enough to break the morale of entire battalions as they usher forward the will of hell. The skies above the court's forces are never empty. Pit locusts, bladed insect demons form the aerial vanguard, their venomous stingers searing the flesh of the righteous and leaving wounds that never heal. The clatter of their wings is often the first and last warning of a coming assault. And beneath them, among the masses of hell, floats the auxilia sorcerers, distant echoes of angelic pasts, floating across no man's land, chanting the cruel gospel of hell as they advance. Important is it to understand that the military forces of the Court of Seven are not designed for conquest in the mortal sense. Their purpose is of a far darker nature. It is to unravel the moral order, to rend the veils between worlds, and to exalt sin until even the memory of virtue is lost. Victory is not measured in territory gained, but in the weight of suffering extracted, and the deeper the blade of hell cuts, the louder the serpent's laugh. The Court of the Seven Headed Serpent does not simply wage war against heaven, it manipulates the entire chessboard of Earth, and across the many factions, the court is both feared, worshipped, hated, and imitated. No faction owes more to the court than the heretic legions, and none are more expendable in the eyes of the serpents. The legions were born in the shadow of hell. When the warbands first spilled from the Hellgate, it was their terror that inspired mass conversions and pledges of allegiance from mortals who once knelt before the cross, the crescent, or the book. These broken people would become the first heretics, damned, branded, and reborn in blasphemy. But the court does not love its mortal followers, rather it treats them like animals and commands them like beasts. Heretic generals are rewarded one day and sacrificed the next. Entire legion cities are leveled by the court's warbands in rituals of infernal reckoning, punishment not for treason, but for failure. Yet despite this, heretic soldiers continue to kneel, for the promise of infernal patronage is far too intoxicating to resist. And so, the court ensures that they remain loyal, not through oaths, but through pain, awe, and terror. The court might claim dominion over Hell's armies, but Beelzebub claims dominion over Hell's sickness. The call of the Black Grail does not answer to the Seven-Headed Serpent. It is a splinter of infernal will, forged not through political alignment, but through theological divergence. Though Beelzebub holds the hungry throne by right as the embodiment of gluttony, He despises the court and has long since vacated its chambers in contempt. The lords and knights of the Fly do not participate in infernal decrees. They spread their plagues in silence, eroding creation in the name of rot, not conquest. This makes the cult both an ally and a threat to the serpents, for when the court's warbands march, they sometimes find their path cleared by the Black Grail's corruption. Other times, they find the Grail warbands defiling objectives that they themselves had sought to claim. And the court tolerates this, at least for now. But the contempt that Beelzebub shares for the court is mutual on their behalf, and all know that one day will come where the serpent must either swallow the fly or be devoured by it. Where the court represents Hell's most elite, the Iron Sultanate represents humanity's most fortified defiance. Their iron wall is not only a bulwark of steel, it is a prophecy. It is the one place where warbands of the court find their advance blunted, not by force alone, but by the power of unwavering belief. The court respects nothing, but it has learned to calculate around the Sultanate. Direct assaults are rare, too costly, too inconclusive. Instead, court agents infiltrate the outer lands, corrupting lesser commanders, stoking heresy, or sending disguised wretches to infect from within. The Sultanate in turn deploys elite janissaries and alchemists to strike down these incursions like antibodies against a spiritual disease. Though not at the center of the Holy See's command, the Iron Sultanate is one of the few forces the court does not underestimate. The Principality of New Antioch is the militant faithful of the Christian Church, and thus Hell's most sacred target. The court has thrown countless warbands against its bastions, seeking to breach its walls, defile its cathedrals, and unmake the last stronghold of the militant Christ. To the court, New Antioch is more than a city. It is blasphemy reversed. Its continued survival is a direct spiritual insult to hell, and each time its walls hold, the court's dominion is delayed. Each time its saints perform a miracle, a devil must answer with greater atrocity. New Antioch's resistance is not merely tactical, it is a metaphysical wound the court seeks to cauterize, and so the war continues, with no quarter, no mercy, and no end. The court views the trenched pilgrims with bemusement. These ragged zealots who staggers across no man's land with broken weapons and blind faith are not seen as worthy enemies, and yet still they are feared, not because of their strength, but because of their unpredictability. Pilgrim processions have derailed entire infernal campaigns simply through martyrdom so profound that it shook the very rituals of Goetic spells. Some pilgrims have been known to burn with literal holy flame in their dying breath, forcing even seasoned demons to recoil. These acts are rare, but the court watches them. Warbands are warned to avoid the Sisters of Stigmata and to crush shrine anchorites before their massed prayers can distort the battlefield. To the serpent, the pilgrims are not an army, they are a spiritual contagion, one that resists corruption even as it bleeds to death. The power of the court is not measured merely in legions and blades. It lies in the twisting of reality itself. Through the ancient and unspeakable rites of Goetia, the noble devils of the court reshape the world into a reflection of their monstrous truths. Goetia is not sorcery in the way men understand it. It is not learned, it is fed. Goetic magic requires sacrifice, pain, terror, and corruption. Each scream of a dying innocent, each blasphemous altar built from holy relics, each act of betrayal offered freely, all feed into a system of perverse miracle working. These rituals fracture the firmament, if only for moments. A sorcerer of the court may shatter a holy bulwark with a word, cause a saint to weep blood, or bend the weather of the world to its will. But always, always, these powers are fleeting. God's design reasserts itself quickly, like a wounded but unyielding body rejecting a parasite. Thus the devils must act fast, their spells always cast under duress. This is why warbands of the court are so lavish in cruelty. This is why their whips drive the wretched forward. This is why they build cathedrals of torment in the ruins of every holy place they defile. For each abomination, each victim, each shattered relic serves as fuel, and without suffering, the court cannot cast, and without blood, they cannot reign. Ultimately, the court of the Seven Headed Serpent is not a faction, neither is it an army, it is not even a government. It is a storm of sentient sin, a parliament of betrayal masquerading as command. Its strength lies not in unity, but in the fact that it thrives without it. While mortal kingdoms fracture when discord blooms, the court draws power from it. Because in hell, discord is its native state. It rules through envy, advances through pride, fuels itself with greed and lust and wrath, and when it appears dormant, when no warband moves, no decree is passed, it is only because sloth and gluttony have swelled so fat they blot out the sky. Its internal politics are not a weakness, but a crucible. Thrones change hands in blood, orders shift in malice, yet through it all, despite it all, the war continues. Because war is the court. It feeds upon the suffering, and it's bred through the betrayal and pain it fosters. And in this ever-changing power struggle, somewhere, deep in this, beneath the shrieking spires and the burning banners, a throne remains empty, all waiting, all watching. Because in hell, power is never given, it is taken, and the serpent is always hungry. Hey there, Hazmat here. That covers the forces of hell and thereby the final of the 6 current major factions within the world of Crusade. Next up, we're looking to dive into some smaller parts of the universe, so stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to let me know in the comments below. As always, a big thanks goes out to the Hunters Lounge, specifically the exclusive Johnny Sevens, the exclusive Warmonk, the exclusive Geechee Boy, the exclusive The Coyote, and the exclusive Rat. The VIPs, Corvo Bearslayer, Derivative, Top Powell, Gino Lucero, Goose, Hambone, Jiminel Bob, Corey Peterson, Michael Thornhill, Mort Def Menace, Ryan, Slip, Stas Biestek, Sunrise Phoenix, TJ Crane, Texas Toast, and the Wizard of Copper. And of course, all the regulars. If you enjoy the content I produce and would like to help support the channel, consider signing up as a member on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. The link is in the description below. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.